Hello, welcome to How to Start Investing in Pokemon. This is kind of like a 2025 edition because this would have been a lot different had you started a couple years ago. So this is a bit of an introduction. I've been doing Pokemon investing myself for a while, but now I've got a friend or two starting to get interested into Pokemon and into Pokemon investing. So there's a lot of things I'm telling them that may as well be shared to a more general audience. I've also been watching a lot of Pokemon investing videos recently. I've been investing for the past 4 years, but I never really watched Pokemon investing videos. But now I've started to watch them more. I have a few takes on certain things that I think, okay, maybe I should be making videos of those as well. And I just haven't started that yet. So this is my attempt at starting that. So yeah, more of an introduction. There's so many different avenues you could go down with Pokemon investing, different plays at the moment, what should be bought, what should be held on to, what the hype is around, what's going on with the market. So I guess we'll take it video by video, but there's just so much to talk about. So a lot of this is going to be about my journey as well. Certain things that I'm currently doing in the hobby, certain things that I'm maybe excited for, certain predictions that I think might be happening. So, this is my take. This is my point of view. None of it is by any means the correct point of view. I might be wrong 100% of the time, but this is just what I'm currently thinking. Don't take it as financial advice. This is my journey. If you want to do the same, you might win, you might lose. I don't know. So a first thing about me, I'm not a full-time Pokemon person. I do have a full-time job, so I do Pokemon as like a side hustle. So far, it's been going well. I started about 4 or 5 years ago streaming on Twitch. Twitch is a live streaming site. YouTube also does live streams, but Twitch was kind of more popular for live streaming at the time when I started. So I'm still live streaming there. I also live stream on YouTube, so I do both. So I've been in the Pokemon game for a while. I don't do it full time, but on my weeknights if I'm free or on my weekends, I try to do a bit of buying, a bit of selling. In terms of investing your money, there's a lot of different ways to invest your money. I'm from Canada, so we have what's called a TFSA. I believe that should be maxed out first before you start getting into any crazy risky plays, but if you want to maybe take a bid and put it into Pokemon because the gains can be so much more significant, then that's a call. But I think a lot of people vouch for the TFSAs as the first sort of thing to look at. But I will say this, historically in the past, couple of years, the gains on Pokemon have been 2 to 3 to 4 all the way up to 10 times your gains on a certain product. You might have bought something at $100, now it's worth $1,000. It's only been a couple of years. Versus if you do well in the stock market, you might only be making 10% a year. So then after 5, 6, 7 years, you finally doubled your money. Whereas Pokemon's kind of outperforming a lot of these sort of big investing companies. You see a lot of different pop culture icons start to show off that they're getting into Pokemon, or just trading cards or collectibles in general. Kevin O'Leary spent millions on a sports card thinking that is a solid investment vehicle. And it's kind of proven to be because you have a lot of people who feel the nostalgia factor for these collectibles. You have a lot of people who still want to keep buying into them. You have a lot of people who buy these collectibles to hold on to with no intention of ever selling, so then the markets become scarcer. There's less product for anyone to try to buy, so then it naturally just goes up. And right now we're at a point in a market where Pokemon is just ridiculously overhyped, so everyone's buying out everything. So it feels like everything's so expensive, but also you stand to still make money if you're trying to invest in it. So now, more into the specifics of Pokemon, because this is more of an introduction. Pokemon basically, they have the trading cards. That's what we're talking about investing in mainly. You could invest in maybe action figures or merchandise from Pokemon, but I feel like most people focus on the trading cards. That typically yields the best results. Maybe there's a few accessory items that do decently well, but for the most part, I just stick with the trading card game. So Pokemon, they print these cards. They don't all just have one set of cards. What is a set of cards? Basically, Pokemon creates a list of, 100 to 200 cards. These cards all go into one specific set or one specific expansion. And then they release that. You can get packs of this expansion. Those packs will have those specific cards. They're not all guaranteed. You only get a few cards per pack out of that pool of cards from that set. Every 2 to 3 months, Pokemon comes out with a new set. And then collectors, they see what's on the list. They take the risk of opening the pack. They see what they can pull from it. Some cards are worth more than others. A lot of the times you end up losing money by opening the packs, but you get that enjoyment factor, so you're paying kind of like an enjoyment cost to it. If you're opening the packs specifically as a financial vehicle, you're most likely going to lose money, especially over time. If you maybe only ever open like 5 packs in your life and you hit something worth a lot of money, then you might have done well, and you should probably stop if you're only doing it for the finances of it. So yeah, there's different sets. Different sets have different cards in them. If the cards are more popular in a certain set, then people stand to open more packs from those sets because they're trying to chase those more popular cards or those more expensive cards. So a lot of times, a lot of people will gear their expectations of the sealed product of these certain sets based on what's inside of the product. There are different kinds of products as well. There are different styles of boxes that have different packs. One of the big token investment items is what they call the Pokemon Booster Box. So that's this guy right here. So this is from the Destined Rivals set. For every main series set, they come out with a booster box. What it has is 36 packs inside of the box, fully sealed. This is your kind of highest concentration of packs in a single box. All the packs are from the same set in this specific box. Those usually do extremely well over time. Those are one of the most solid investment vehicles for Pokemon. That's typically what people go to for keeping sealed and holding on to. There's also another pretty popular one. It's called the Elite Trainer Box. These contain packs all from the same set as well. This one is a Surging Sparks on this side. Surging Sparks Elite Trainer Box. So what this has is a couple of packs, comes with a promo, a few little accessories. But in terms of a collection box, it just looks pretty cool. So a lot of collectors like to get this, hold on to it. And then those seem to appreciate nicely over time as well, just because of how nice they look. And I guess that's the main appeal of it. It's kind of like this nice thing to see of a certain captured moment in time. This specific set had this item. Look at this. This is nice on my shelf kind of thing. There's other products as well. You have different sorts of boxes. Pokemon prints a whole bunch of different stuff. They call them like collection boxes or premium collections or blister packs. Booster bundles. So there's so many different items that Pokemon creates that contain these packs. Some of these collection boxes have different packs from different sets, so you get more of like a smorgasbord of different packs within the same box. So booster boxes and Elite Trainer boxes all have, the same set. All the packs in this have the same set, whereas other collection boxes might not. So then that's where things start to sway. Is a box worth buying? If the packs in the box aren't as good, they might not be, worth buying the box as opposed to an Elite Trainer box of a good set kind of thing. So that's kind of like the main introduction to Pokemon products. In future videos, we can go into a bit more of that. So in terms of investing, depending what your goal is going to influence what sort of products you want to buy. If you have a long outlook, say you want to buy some product because you've seen that it's done so well, you want to spend a couple $100, buy a nice product, forget about it, and maybe sit on it for 5 to 10 years before even thinking about selling it, you really can't go wrong with any Pokemon, it feels like. As long as the company itself and the hype for Pokemon just doesn't plummet to zero, people are always going to enjoy Pokemon. It's the biggest multimedia franchise in the world. So any product isn't bad, but obviously you want to try to maximize your gains as much as possible. So typically those elite trainer boxes or those booster boxes are going to be the best bang for your buck. In the past few years, we've seen booster boxes go from $100 all the way up to like $3,000 just for stuff that's only been in print for like 3 years. Just crazy gains on some stuff. If your outlook is more short term and you're trying to just flip, then you kind of need to find the best deals on stuff. The market is always fluctuating, but if you can find stuff for pretty cheap and then you could sell it at what is considered market price, then maybe you can make a little bit of money, but you'll probably have to hustle even harder or find those opportunities to buy things super cheap that it's worth your time. There are opportunities, but it's not as easy and it's a lot more time consuming, but there definitely are things like sometimes shops have sales or sometimes, Costco drops a product and 100 people line up and you get one of this product, but instantly the moment it's in your hands, it's already worth like double the price of what you paid for it just because of how good of a deal it was. So there are those opportunities as well, but they just, take time and they take effort. So you have to weigh that into your whole financial plan as well. The market itself is different than it was a few years ago. I started getting into Pokemon during the COVID-19 pandemic, and this was at a time where people started like going back into the nostalgic things they loved, and then there was also the Logan Paul hype where he started opening up Pokemon. A lot more people started looking back into Pokemon, so I got in around that time. Pokemon was pretty popular around that time. Things were selling well. Then there was a bit of a lull. Things weren't selling as much, but they were readily available. So the people who still enjoyed the hobby still got to enjoy the hobby for like relatively cheap. Now we're at a point where Pokemon released the TCG Pocket app on your phone. You can open virtual packs for free and pull some cards. So it's starting to get people interested in that whole kind of gambling opening mindset, that endorphin rush of like, oh, I pulled some nice cards. So now that app did really well. It's about a year old. People are transitioning from that into buying the real cards. So now you have this whole market swing of like everyone's trying to get into it. And then since the whole Logan Paul hype a few years ago, I think what also is happening is people are seeing these huge gains on their products that they've just been sitting on for these 3 to 4 years. Now that they've actually seen that these products really can appreciate, they're like, okay, there's so much more potential to hold on to boxes now and wait another 3 to 4 years and see those do well as well. So I think those two factors have really affected the market, and now you just have all this overwhelming hype. Stores can't keep up. You see people fighting over Pokemon. You see the prices skyrocketing. If you're trying to buy, just a few packs here and there, you just can't find it anywhere. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on in the market. If you're trying to minimize your risks, then I'll say, maybe try to only buy things that are on sale. That's what I typically try to get my cost per booster pack to a minimum, especially because I typically do these streams on Twitch where I sell the booster packs. If I can minimize my costs on each pack, then I know, okay, worst case, if I need to liquidate some stuff, I could kind of sell it at basically like what I paid for instantly because I bought it at such a reasonable price. And then in that way, I'm not completely tied to it as much as I would be if I like overpaid for something and then now I'm just sitting on a bunch of it kind of thing. So depending what you're trying to do might be worth, especially if you're starting, minimizing those costs. If you have a long outlook and you're not terribly worried and you want to drop a couple hundred, then maybe get a booster box that might be overpriced. But if you forget about it, then you don't even have to worry about if the market dips, $30, $50, because 5-10 years, you're going to be up like thousands anyway. So like, you don't even care. Yeah, I think that's about it for an introduction. I feel like this video has gone on long enough, but yeah, that's my kind of starting point. I think in future videos, we'll just kind of talk about like what sort of things I'm doing or what I'm doing with my friends who are new to investing, what sort of things we're trying to get into to, slowly grow their collections or their investments. People, when they hear you talk about Pokemon and you say the word investment, they're kind of like, this is a children's card game. You can't actually be serious. And it's like, you can think that, but the numbers don't lie. I've seen some pretty big gains on like some of this stuff. I've been doing it for a few years. Whether you're trying to flip as like a store and just trying to make your margins that way, or you just sit on it, either way, you're kind of making money. So there is something to be said about, investing in collectibles, especially as, there's so many different collectibles that exist, so many different things that are nostalgic for so many people. Like hockey cards are going up in value, baseball cards are going up in value. There's different investment vehicles. And I think a big thing is that people think collectibles or Pokemon specifically, it's like, it's not your typical stock investment. It's not your typical, investment from a bank. So that's pretty risky. But it's when things are more risky that you stand to gain even more money. So, definitely diversify. Don't put all of your money into Pokemon. Again, this isn't financial advice. If you put all your money into Pokemon, that's, your choice, of course. But, try to be smart with it. Try to, do your due diligence. Don't overextend yourself. Have fun with it. That's a huge part of it. For me, because Pokemon is a hobby and a passion of mine, then it makes the investing side of it, it's like a game. It's fun. I get to do it. I get to enjoy the cards themselves. So all around for me, it's a good time. Hopefully you're along for the ride with me, and we'll talk a lot more about Pokemon as we continue. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope this was a little piece of value to your day. Take care.